guys and gals, Joe here, the man who is very upset that he now mains a charge character, and I'm here to talk about UFC 292. So we have some things to talk about. Some of it fun, most of it not really, for me at least. So enough talk. Let's get to the fights. In our main event of the evening, we have Sean O'Malley looking to follow in John Jones's footsteps to be a fighter who has popped hot and then become champion later on. But he had to take on Aljamain Sterling, who's building up a lot of press, and the UFC does like to push people in the now. Then looking back, Aljamain Sterling has been said to be the #1 bantamweight ever. I disagree personally, but hey. So in the preview show, we talked about this fight. And if you're really curious to see how accurate we were, you can go back and rewatch that preview show. But we talked about Aljo's best strength is his relentlessness and takedowns. He's not going to get you. He's not a one-and-done takedown guy. He wants to shoot 500 takedowns because he knows you can't defend all of them. And it's like just constant pressure. He just stays on you. He's always going for these takedowns. But then Aljamain Sterling made me really sad because he said he wasn't going to go for a takedown early. He said that he openly talked about this week about how he made a bet with O'Malley that O'Malley would shoot takedown first, which made me really sad because Aljamain Sterling has a history of rushing in with his chin up. And, O'Malley, say what you want about him. I have a lot to say about the guy. I think he's a little overrated, admittingly. I think he's pretty overrated, honestly. But he's a counter-strength. Yeah, so how did this fight go? Well, in the first round, I honestly thought Aljo was landing a ton of low kicks, especially whenever Sean O'Malley was switching stances. A lot of switch stances, as, it seemed like Aljo was looking to always keep it a close guard matchup. And, but he started just, throwing a lot of inside low kicks to the right leg of Sean O'Malley, really weakening that rear leg. Looked like he was trying to weaken it, attack the legs. Very smart idea, because Pedro Munoz was piecing up Sean O'Malley in their fight. He was piecing him up with just low kicks, basically. And I thought it was an interesting idea, because then you can kind of weaken it, attack with a shot. Also, Chito Vera, when he smoked Sean O'Malley, he did it with low kicks. So I thought it was an interesting idea, but he wasn't really shooting, and he wasn't looking to extend his threat range, I guess you could say, to get in positions where he could shoot takedowns. He wasn't really looking to do any of that. He was really content with just kind of moving, throwing low kicks, But O'Malley didn't do much either. So I thought Aljo snagged the first round. Second round, more of the same. One failed takedown attempt from Aljo. And like I said, Aljo historically isn't the one-and-done guy. He wants 200 takedowns. You can't defend them all. So not a big deal. But then he rushes in with his chin up in the air, something I said on the preview show that I said, hey, I'm really worried about this. Even though I picked Aljo to win. I wanted Aljo to win as a fan. And he got countered and dropped. Finished with ground and pound by... Yeah, and so now Sean, the Poodle O'Malley, wins by TKO and sadly is the UFC Bantamweight Champion of the world. So, for the record, I'm going to get this out of the way now. For the record, I don't really like Sean O'Malley. He kind of embodies things I dislike about fighters nowadays. He's kind of a prick, seems like. He runs his mouth a lot, and he's pushed insanely hard by the UFC. So I apologize for my unprofessionalism. I want to say this now. I know I called him a poodle. It's kind of a joke. I said it on the previous show. I got a lot of laughs out of me and Carl. Just kind of wanted to say it again and make myself feel a little better. But I do apologize if you feel any unprofessionalism in how I talk about him. I'm not trying to be unprofessional. But it's it's kind of how it is. And from now on, there won't be any. That was my one little, kind of jab at him, I suppose. But there won't be from here on out the rest of this. But I will say this: he did call out Chito Vera afterwards, who just bounced back from a loss to Corey Sandhagen. While Merab and Sandhagen are much more deserving, he called out Chito Vera, said, I'll fight him in December. It's pretty weak to me, honestly. I get wanting revenge. I understand wanting revenge, but it's just pretty weak to me, I think. But overall, hey, Sean O'Malley, new champion. I don't really like it, but I don't know. That's not much I can say. I don't want to say this is a Aljamain Sterling loss more than an O'Malley win. I really want to say that, but I don't want to say that because I feel like that. I said it initially, like right after watching the fight, but thinking back after taking a deep breath, kind of smoking a cigarette, and thinking about it, I feel like that's disrespectful to Sean O'Malley, and just because I don't like the guy, but I try to not be disrespectful to fighters, and so I'm not gonna be on record in saying that. Congratulations to Sean O'Malley. I don't like you as a fan. I don't really like you, but as a fighter kind of thing. Hey, congratulations, man. At the end of the day, you worked hard, got here. I really hope he fights Marab. That's just me. But next, in the co-main event of the evening, we had a strawweight title match between Amanda Lemos and the champion, I should say. What am I talking about? Champion Weili Zhang. This fight was a slaughter. So for most of this fight, Zhang just kind of smashed from top position or got a ton of control time. Zhang looked like she was a secret Dagestani fighter in there, honestly. Like a lot of wrestling, great takedowns, just smashing, from top position. But there was some crazy moments in there. A couple moments where Lemos looked like she was going for these desperation Darce chokes. Honestly, awesome. But didn't get him. And overall, it really was a one-sided pounding, and Weili Zhang was the hammer in this situation. In the last round, Weili Zhang did get a huge right hand land, drop Lemos. It looked like she was close to finishing the fight, I thought. But Lemos survives. In the first round, she also nearly finished her. Ground and pound from the back mount. I think it was in the first round, I believe. But couldn't get it. Final round, she couldn't get it. But Lemos survives, and Weili Zhang wins a very lopsided unanimous decision win. And then next up we had Neil Magny coming in on short notice for fellow Jeff Neal, to take on Ian Garry. This fight was another lopsided one. Garry just slamming low kick after low kick after low kick into Magny, which just chopped him down. So Magny actually has a really bad history of kind of lumbering forward, walking forward, and not checking low kicks. And Garry took full advantage of this. He definitely read the scouting report and just took full advantage. All these low kicks were leading into more big strikes, which just dominated Magny for all 3 rounds. Multiple knockdowns from low kicks. Hurt him a couple times on the feet with shots to the head. And one really good low kick, or a kick to the body as well. And Magny really wanted to grapple, but it was always denied as his mobility was really heavily compromised at this point when he was trying to grapple, and it just wasn't happening. Magny does survive, but Ian Garry wins a unanimous decision win, lopsided decision win. And we got one more big fight to talk about. One more fight. I just had to talk about this fight. Chris Weidman made his return to the cage after a horrifying injury against Brad Tavares. Brad Tavares, he just went kick crazy in this fight. Just blasting tons of low kicks that led into more kicks and more kicks and more kicks. Similar to what Ian Garry did later on the card. A lot less diverse offense, I guess you could say. Like Ian Garry was throwing a lot more punches as well. Where Tavares was mostly throwing kicks. And Weidman just hampered. Left leg hampered. Stumbling on it. Struggling to walk at times. Was forced to fight most of the fight southpaw. And then whenever he did switch orthodox thinking he could, he got blasted again by it. And it was looking rough. But what a legendary level of toughness Weidman had, though. He took all these kicks. Me and my best friend are watching these fights. And we're groaning at this fight. Just all these kicks. Laying it all out on the line, and even taking 2 low blows that made me almost pray that I will never take a shot like that in my life. Horrifying stuff, and tough as nails, and he kept going forward. It was really inspirational, and it was an inspirational but ultimately saddening performance. Because, man, I like Weidman. I really like Chris Weidman. I really wish he had this triumphant comeback, the storybook moment, He was awesome back in the day, but man, years of punishment, especially in that first Rockhold, or the only Rockhold fight really, in which he lost his title, and injuries, they really hampered his post-title career, I think. Because, man, this guy, if for people that don't know, this guy was something else. There was a period in time where he looked like the perfect fighter. ADCC, just a purple belt, went basically in with a purple belt in wrestling and placed, I think he placed, if I remember right. He did pretty well for himself. and which was super impressive. Was working on his striking constantly, had tons of knockout power, was very sound technically, a little stiff, but like great IQ with a great camp behind him. And he looked like almost a perfect fighter in there for a while. And, you know, hey, this is the nature of the sport, sadly. But what about the rest of the card? Well, Mario Batista, he beat Damon Blackshear by decision in a pretty alright fight, I thought, but probably one that should have been on the prelims, I think, admittingly. Chito Vera and Pedro Munoz went back and forth, but Chito Vera, super slick boxing. I thought he won round 1 and 3, personally, and super slick boxing in round 3 led to an impressive unanimous decision win. RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez. Seriously, this ground and pound finish over Dennis, and I'm going to butcher this name, I do apologize. T-Lulin, I think, I couldn't hear. I had my volume down when I was watching this one, so I apologize. But if you haven't seen this finish, go look it up. If you're a ground and pound fan, go look this finish up. Trust me. Kurt Holloway, he beat Austin Hubbard by triangle choke to win tough. Yeah, I was really rooting for Austin Hubbard because I liked him in his pre-tough days in the UFC. But hey, man, credit to Kurt Holloway. Super tough. Great grappling in there. Honestly, looked in super slick. And Brad Katona and Cody Gibson had people saying this was Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonner, like, come back. It was a brawl. Super awesome fight. Massive brawl. No one's gonna... I really hope we're talking about how good this fight was, you know, months from now. You know, I feel like Piotr Jan and Corey Sandhagen got brought up by my friend tonight, and I was like, that's like top 10 fight ever to me. You know, that fight's incredible. And no one talks about it. I feel like this fight here, I hope people talk about, like, continue to talk about. Because, you know, we're a what have you done for me lately sport, sadly. But Brad Katona, fun fact, first guy to win tough twice. I thought Jesse Taylor did it, but no, he got kicked out before he made it to the finals. And I think Amir Sadallah tapped him out, if I remember correctly. Anyways, afterwards. Andre Petrosky beat Gerald Meerschaert in a fight that really turned into a brawl in that last couple minutes in that third round. It was awesome. Natalia Silva beat Andrea Lee, much to Twitter's delight. Twitter was really happy about that one, honestly. And finally, Karen Silva beat, I always butcher her name, I do apologize, Marina Moroz by guillotine choke. And that is it for me. No news this weekend, as admittingly, you might notice I'm a little rambly. I have a horrible sleep schedule, I apologize. And I'm very tired, but I didn't want to, you know, go to bed and then forget to, you know, it'd be like noon my time when I shoot this. I don't want to do that to you guys. So I do apologize on that. I will be back next week, hopefully recharged, reinvigorated, you know, and feeling really good. I really hope so, because this card hurt me personally. A lot of my guys I wanted to win lost, so it's just kind of how it is. But I will be back to cover, most likely, the final Korean Zombie fight against Max Holloway, one of the top 3 featherweight of all time, Max Holloway, and an all-time legend in Korean Zombie. Should be a lot of fun, hopefully. Fingers crossed. I'm Joe with the INC. Thank you so much for watching.